Hi friends, we're going to learn how to graph a system of two linear equations. So I'm going to assume that you don't really know much about your calculator. So just turn it on and you're going to come to your opening screen. And we want to make sure that our graph is set up the way we want it to. So we want to make sure that our table of values is starting at 0. So if it's not starting here at 0, you can go to second table set. If you're not sure what I'm doing, you can follow my keystrokes down here below. And you can always pause the video and rewind. So my table is going to start at 0. I want my graph to be, so that's good. I want my graph to be a 10 by 10 grid. So then I click window and it's my x min is from -10 to 10. My y min is from -10 to 10. And there you go. There's another quick and easy way to do that, and that's to do zoom standard. And zoom standard will give you a 10 by 10 grid. Okay, so we got our graph set up as a standard grid. We have our table starting at 0, and now we want to type in some equations. So notice how there's nothing here and that my equal signs are light. As soon as I start typing in something, y equals 3, my x value is right here next to my green alpha key, and then -2. Notice how my equal sign went dark. And what that means is that we'll now graph this line y equals 3x minus 2. So if I hit graph, there you have a blue line. And if I go to table, second table, I will have my table of values. So when x is 0, y equals -2. So here's a table of values that you may have actually had to fill out when you were in Algebra 1. But here the calculator does it for you, okay? So going back to my y equals, I have 3x minus 2, but I said I wanted to graph a system of equations and find the solution. So my other equation is going to be -3x, and the negative sign is down here. So you always have to use the negative when, sorry, that should be a 3. Sorry, I'm going down to my second one, and I just use my arrow key to get down to the second one. And that's going to be a -3x plus 4. So that's my other line that I'm going to be doing. And now if I go ahead and take a look at the graph, you've got your first line that you saw before, and now the second one will be in a different color, and you could also change the colors. And I see from my graph that it looks like it's at approximately 1, 1 here. But I can also look at my table of values if I go to second table, and I see when x is 1, y1 is 1, and when x is 1, y2 is 1. So that's the point of intersection. I can also look at this if I go to mode, and notice here where it says full. If I scroll down to where it says full, that means that I have the full screen of the graph and the full screen of the table. If I'd like my graph and table to appear together on screen, I can hit graph table. And then if I go to graph, I get the graph on one side of my screen, and then I get my table of values on my other side. Okay, so I can see my table of values here, and I have 1, 1. Okay, so we just showed you 2 ways of taking a look at that. And if I just go to second table, it will put me over here at the table, so I can use my arrow keys to see my other values. So there's x is 1, y1 is 1, and y2 is 1. And it shows you here on the graph where that point is, and you can see that it's a point of intersection. Okay, there's one other thing I want to show you, and that's how the calculator will actually calculate the point of intersection for you. And if you go to second calc and you go to intersect, okay, it asks you your first curve, and it tells you at the top that this is the 3x minus 2 graph equation rather. So you just hit enter, and then your second curve, it's not a curve, it's a line, but call it a curve, is your red one, -3x plus 4. You hit enter, and then it asks you if you want to guess, and you can use your arrow key to scroll down, but you don't have to. And then you hit guess, and then there's the intersection. Okay, now notice here it tells you exactly what the intersection value is. X equals 1, y equals 1. There's your intersection point. Okay, so how you can find your intersection point graphically using your TI-84 calculator. Thank you, my friends.